Hi everyone, welcome to this episode of Ask a New York City Tour Guide. In this episode, we're talking about walking. In New York City, you're going to walk. You're going to walk a lot. We're a walk-in town, and it's actually the very best way to see everything. But there are some things you should remember, and the guides are going to let you know some of that information and some things to keep in mind. My advice is at the end, and I hope to see you there. What's your walking advice for people?
I got some serious walking advice. You know how in New York City people say things, you may have heard this before, I'm walking here, right? You want to avoid that. You want to make sure no one ever says I'm walking here to you. All you got to do is think about walking in New York City like driving. When you drive down the highway and you get lost, what do? You don't hit the brake in the middle of the highway and look at Google Maps. You pull over to the side of the road, to the shoulder, and then you look at your map, you pull the thing out, right? It's the exact same thing in New York City. If you stop in the middle of the road and you just look at your phone because you're lost, because as we are when you're on vacation, you're not gonna know where you're going all the time. People are gonna bump into you. That's why all of a sudden everyone's like, get out of the way. I'm walking here. So the idea is that when you don't know where you are in New York, just pull over. Act like you're a car when you're walking. New Yorkers do. And if you don't get out of the way, you're gonna get into an accident.
Best walking advice: walk around the neighborhood and use the subway to move from one neighborhood to another. And whenever you walk, just like walk, turn your head around. There are so many hidden gems to be seen in New York. So walk with full awareness.
If you're walking, I would say as much as you can, keep to the right. I know most people don't do it, but it does make things easier to do.
A lot of people want to walk the Brooklyn Bridge, and they kind of feel walking the Brooklyn Bridge is the best way to experience this. I tell people, walk the Manhattan Bridge. A lot of people don't know that you can actually walk that bridge. And when you walk the Manhattan Bridge, you get a beautiful view, again, of the Brooklyn Bridge and Lower Manhattan as well. It's one of the best things to do in New York City, besides walking Hudson River Park. And do Hudson River Park on a summer night. It's beautiful.
My walking advice for New York City is really simple. The sidewalk here is just like the freeway back home. Would you drive 40 miles an hour on the freeway back home? No, you would not. Would you text while you were driving on the freeway back home? No, you would not. Would you stop right by the on-ramp or the off-ramp to talk or take a photo? No, you would not. Sidewalk's the same here.
I would first of all say anything within a mile, it's perfectly acceptable to walk that. Don't get on a subway if you're just going a mile, I wouldn't say. And also, more importantly, stay to the right-hand side and do not stand in front of doorways. If there's one thing that pisses off New Yorkers, it's when you're in the way of them getting from point A to point B.
Walking advice for New York City. Our sidewalks are our highways. And so that means get to the right side, and if you need to stop, pull over. The other advice would be try not to walk more than 2 abreast. You wouldn't want to be blocking a highway where you live. And New Yorkers, well, every square inch of Manhattan is contested, and a lot happens in a New York City minute. So if you delay someone by a quarter of a second, well, New Yorkers are a lot nicer than people think. But if you get in a New Yorker's way, you might catch an elbow under the ribs.
Hi, out-of-towners. If you're walking in New York and you're walking slowly, stay over to the right. Stay out of the lanes of traffic where people are trying to get around. It's the major pet peeve of people who live here. Walk in single file. Do not walk 2 or 3 across. We call that clotheslining. Don't walk the wrong way up or down stairs. Don't stand at the top of stairs. Don't wander aimlessly looking at your cell phone or making a phone call. It drives people crazy. There's enough New Yorkers that do that, but we don't need out-of-towners doing that too. So just, if you're gonna not be walking, stay out of the way. That's what I do.
Best walking advice, wear proper shoes. You won't know, if you've never been to the city, you won't know how much, you'll lose track about how much that you're walking. For those of us who live here, what we end up doing is wearing sneakers, and then we put our nice shoes inside of our bag. That's why we have such big bags.
My best walking advice. 1, if you can, walk as much of New York as you can. There is so much to see. 2, remember that our sidewalks are almost like highways. So be careful suddenly stopping in the middle of the sidewalk.
My walking advice is walk with purpose. Know where you are going. It isn't, if you're a slow walker, listen, I get sidewalk rage, you know, born and raised from here. I do get it. And it's aggressive sometimes. But if you walk with purpose, I will respect you more. So just walk with purpose. And if you don't know, like I said, step aside.
Many of my customers will tell me that they're walking approximately 8 miles a day every day in New York City. That's reasonable. That's about how much I walk on my busiest days in New York. I just be mindful of the fact that you have a limited amount of energy that you can expend in the city and to use it to your best disposal. Also be mindful of the fact that most New York City food is very carb heavy. There's a reason for that, because New Yorkers love to walk around. We love pizza, bagels, donuts, because we need so many carbs to fit all that energy that we're spending in New York City.
Well, first and foremost, make sure your shoes are really comfortable. Do not wear stilettos or tight boots on a walking tour. Make sure their shoes, they don't have to look wonderful, they have to feel great.
Best walking advice in New York. Here's the thing, New Yorkers do not walk like everyone else. They walk kind of like this because they're like always trying to get around people. And I will warn you, if you are ever in a New Yorker's way and they're on a mission, they will yell at you. I've been yelled at on my bad days. I myself have done a little bit of yelling. It is a quintessential part of the New York City experience, but it's one I'd really rather you not have to deal with. So wherever you go, just make certain that you're being mindful, leaving plenty of space on the sidewalk, just so that they can get by.
Walking, yes. Walking in New York City, it's like driving. If you need to go slow, go to the far right or the far left. Stay out of the way of major traffic. And if you need to look at your phone or pull over to the side, it's driving rules, people. And also, why doesn't New York have like a lane for slow pokes? They should have that all over New York City. I know I'm not the first person to come up with it, but it's a good idea.
Do I have any walking advice? New York City is a city built for walking, but if you get lost, which inevitably you will, it's okay to look on your phone, but pull to the side. Do not stop in the middle of the street. You might as well stop in the middle of traffic where the cars are. Just pull to the side and everyone will be happier.
My best walking advice is we love you guys visiting New York City, but if you're looking at a map, do not stop in the middle of a sidewalk. Go to the side, go up against and discuss where it is you want to go, or ask a New Yorker where you want to go. Nothing will make you quicker enemies than stopping in the middle of a busy New York City street as a group and preventing everybody to get where they need to go.
Do you have any walking advice?
Yes, don't walk like I do. I tend to zigzag a lot. When I drove, I tend to be a little bit erratic when I drive, so a lot of my friends say you walk like you drive. I don't think that's a good thing. But anyway, if you're here visiting, don't try and follow the people too much, especially around Times Square, because you're not going to cross the street. So at that point, definitely zigzag or at least walk in the streets. Stay out of the way. Don't look at your phone when you're walking, especially in New York. And if you have to look at your phone, please just stick to the corner, and try and find what you need to find.
Walking advice in New York City is to walk as much as you possibly can. This is a walker's town. I believe in what Walt Whitman said, that the great cities are the cities in which you can walk. There is something lost when you experience a city filtered through a windshield. You go neighborhood to neighborhood, walking the famed and fabled sidewalks of New York. From Chinatown to Little Italy to Soho to Greenwich Village to Chelsea, you become not just an observer, but a participant, not just in the city, but of the city. You become, for however brief a time, a New Yorker. And there is no substitute in all the world for that.
So I hope you found the advice from the guides helpful. You pretty much stick to your right, don't stop dead in the middle of a sidewalk, and enjoy yourself. Now remember, this is a very crowded place. We have over 8.5 million people that just live here, let alone everybody who commutes in and all of the visitors that we get every year. So just be aware of what's around you. You wouldn't want somebody to stop dead in front of you on your way to work. Don't do it to somebody else. If you did enjoy this video or found it helpful, please like below, subscribe, and ring the bell, and you'll get a notification on when the next one shows up. And if you do want to get a hold of any of these guides, you can contact them from the information below them, or feel free to write me at wecantourthat@gmail.com, and we will we'll get you in touch with them. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you next time.